Hi, I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my video cartoon for September 29th, 2025. Knocking September off. So here we go with this cartoon, my most recent cartoon that I just completed here. And this is Pete Hegseth outside of the Pentagon. Secretary of War, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, outside the Pentagon, and his two security men have caught two reporters who are wandering around basically without an escort. And they caught them red-handed, walking through the corridors of the Pentagon without an escort, and that is a no-no now. They must be escorted. That's part of the many restrictions that Hegseth has put in there. So we're focusing on that restriction today. And here is Pete Hegseth, and here are the two reporters, and there's the Pentagon. And let's take there it is. Pete Hegseth's giving thumbs up. And I'm going to read you the introduction. Richard's Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, Pentagon restriction, and President Trump at Hegseth's top military meeting near Washington. That's tomorrow, Tuesday. Okay, so here comes the introduction, and here it is. And that's given messages are typically communicated to top military brass via memo or secure teleconference. So that's usually been the mode for communicating with all the top brass that the Secretary of Defense has done. I don't remember Dick Cheney or Donald Rumsfeld or any back in history, even when with all the stuff that was going on. I never remember anything like this. So that's just the way it is now. And they wanted them there it seems like a morale booster to show the progress and what they're doing. And this is a way of being more personal, whichever way you want to look at it. You know, I heard a lot of people saying different things. I'm just going to let it say it objectively. They want to go eyeball to eyeball, let's put it that way, with all the entire military staff. Perhaps I think it's throughout perhaps throughout the world. I don't know if it's throughout the world or not, or the United States, but it's hundreds and hundreds of top military admirals and generals from 1 star on the way up. So it could be more than 800, as they said it was 800. I suspect it would be more than that. And Hegseth has restricted reporters' ability to move freely through the Pentagon without an approved escort. Okay? It's like going through the hallway when you were a kid in your high school, junior high school, and you're caught without a pass. You don't get a pass. You go to principal's office. You know, in this case, you don't have an escort. You go to Pete Hegseth's office in the Pentagon or outside the Pentagon. In this case, he got him out here, outside in front of the Pentagon. Okay. And those who violate any restrictions can be deemed a security or safety risk. Okay? If you're without an escort. Okay? All right. Okay. I don't know if that applies to using the restrooms or not, but I don't know about that. I just threw that in a little bit of humor there. I don't know. Okay. And deemed a security or safety risk. And President Trump reportedly confirmed he plans to attend Tuesday's unusual near Washington that's tomorrow, meeting organized by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth that will gather hundreds of senior military officers, like generals up from 1 star and admirals up from 1 star all the way up, amid President Trump saying, quote, "It's about talking about how well we're doing militarily and a lot of good positive things. Just a good message." See, to get a real good message out, they had to do it eyeball, get them all together. I mean, you could argue it's a little bit of a security risk getting all of our top brass in one spot at one time. It's a little bit of a security risk, but you could argue that. But nevertheless, I'm sure they have everything taken care of. I'm sure of that. I'm hopeful. Okay, so that went here, and these two reporters were caught inside the Pentagon without escorts, and here's what my cartoon is all about here. Okay? And here goes. Okay? And here goes the security guy here. This man here, he's got his report in his hand. He wrote like a referral, like he used to write when you were in school. They gave referrals on. This is his referral to Pete Hegseth. That's what he wrote. And here he goes. Okay? Secretary of War Hegseth. Here's our report on these two deep state reporters. Think President Donald Trump will award us medals? So he's thinking maybe he'll get some medals out of this, nabbing these two reporters. Possibly looks like they're from the deep state. They look that way a little bit, So then here goes Pete Hegseth is retorting back saying, there will be lots of rewards for good men like you. That is why I have ordered all our nation's top brass military to meet together, to motivate them and get them that there's something out there. If you're loyal to President Trump and you're loyal to the department, to our War Department, and above all to President Donald Trump, there's a lot of good stuff ahead for you, a lot of rewards, and that's the and we're doing great, and let's keep up the great work we're doing and all that. So that was that, and now here is this other guy here who has his arm around this other reporter, and he's saying, hope Hegseth meets with Attorney General Pam Bondi to get these two deep staters behind bars, maybe to get some charges going against them, and that was that. Okay, there was the Pentagon, the two supposedly deep state liberal reporters caught in the Pentagon without escorts. And there's Pete Hegseth, thumbs up to the security guards, not to the reporters. Thumbs up to the security guard for catching them and nabbing them before they could get any information out. Could have been before President Trump said what the meeting would be about. A lot of people were speculating it could be something very serious about some kind of an operation or something, but President Trump basically said it was a kind of like a pep rally, and it may turn into a pep rally, like another one of President Trump's pep rallies. It might. Okay, so here it goes, and there it was. Okay. Okay, now the second part here of this presentation is President Trump making his presentation here to the all the soldiers gathered here alongside of Pete Hegseth. There is the logo. There is the seal of the Department of War now. The Department of War seal here. Okay, that I drew, and here is the presidential seal. My adaptation here. Okay, and here are the servicemen who are there here listening to President Trump speak, and they're all there in the front. This is the front row. These are the guys who got the front row seats watching here. There they are. Okay. And here goes my Richard's President Donald Trump at this meeting here. So, top-ranking official, military leaders. Okay? Here it goes. Okay. And he's saying, here's President Trump. And he's saying, I want to thank all you great leaders, high admirals, and generals for answering the call of our greatest Secretary of War in the history of our country, here, Pete Hegseth, and attending this patriotic special meeting. Okay? And then he goes, always remember, It's the warrior ethos. The warrior ethos that stops wars. And I stopped 6 wars with it. Now, President Trump has always lately been reiterating his history of stopping 6 wars that he brings up here. His interpretation of those 6 wars that he stopped, and because that ethos from our fantastic Secretary of War, again here, Pete Hegseth. Okay, there's Pete Hegseth again. Militarily, we are doing greater than ever, far better than under the Biden administration. Now, President Trump always takes a shot at the Biden administration, say how much better he's doing, and things like that, you know. So this would definitely going to be on the agenda, I would imagine so, as I am, okay. And we are very close to achieving world peace through strength. Very close to world peace in those 2 areas of conflict that you well know about. Okay, and there were the men in the first row watching President Donald Trump, the generals there with their 2, 3 stars, hats and uniforms that I drew here. Okay, one last shot at President Donald Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. All right, thank you for watching my video. God bless you, and hang in there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.